Good evening. Thousands of pets go to the groomers every day to get their hair cut, get a bath, or their nails trimmed. But most animals end up just fine. But every now and then there's an injury reported. That's right. And that is exactly when questions arise. Who is in charge of disciplining those groomers, and who tracks how many pets one groomer has injured? As the I-Team found out, the answer is no one.
It's a call you never want to receive.
And they told me that there was an incident with Mila and that she's being rushed to the Bakersfield vet.
A routine trip to the grooming salon at Petco in Southwest Bakersfield turned upside down.
So the first thing I thought was she jumped off and hung herself, or another dog bit her or something. Like I was thinking it was I was thinking the worst possible scenario.
Thankfully, neither of those happened. Little Mila, a 1.5-year-old dog, was cut on her foot while she was being groomed and started bleeding. Petco employees rushed Mila to the vet for treatment. Minoshka Dabul, her owner, jumped in the car after being called and hurried to meet them there.
Her toe was completely hanging on by a little skin.
Dabul says Mila's dew claw had to be removed, but she has since made a full recovery. While Dabul says Petco was accommodating by paying all the veterinary expenses, her focus shifted to making sure no other pet owner had to go through the same thing.
I could only think, if this happened to my dog, how many other dogs could it happen to before she gets in trouble?
23 ABC reached out to Petco about their policies to discipline staff members who injure a pet. They sent a statement saying in part, quote, any event that puts the health or safety of a pet at risk is immediately investigated, and we take accountability and corrective actions up to and including termination as appropriate. According to Petco, their groomers go through 20 weeks and 800 hours of training before becoming certified. But what every pet parent needs to know is that unlike barbers and beauticians, in California, groomers do not have to be licensed and there are no education requirements.
It's a big little industry. It really is.
Terry DiMarino has been a groomer for 45 years. She, along with other grooming experts, created the California Professional Pet Groomers Association. The nonprofit came up with the Professional Pet Groomers and Stylists Standards of Care, Safety, and Sanitation. It sets a suggested baseline for standards every groomer and stylist should follow.
We want to bring together and do what is best for the pets, their owners, and the groomers that serve them.
She says it's important for pet owners to ask questions and communicate with their groomers prior to dropping off their pet.
I'm never offended when someone asks me, how long have you been doing this? Do you have any areas of expertise? More often than not, the first question that people ask is, how much do you charge for this? And it becomes very price-based.
DiMarino says you can also ask a groomer about whether they participate in any sort of continued education. As an organization, she says they would like to see a statewide groomer registration and statewide certification.
You don't have to be certified to be good, but you do have to be good to be certified.
DiMarino says just because an injury happens doesn't mean the person is a bad groomer, but taking the time to learn more about the person who will be working with your pet is important.
Understand that we're dealing with living, breathing animals that we love. We love what we do. It's never our intention to do harm, and we do the best we can with what we have to work with.
As for Dabul and her dog Mila, she had no idea groomers aren't licensed, and she says she'll be taking another approach with her next groomer and wants others to do the same.
Don't think that the cheaper way is the better way, because most of the time it's not. And even if it's expensive, it's not always you're paying for quality. Just make sure that people are getting educated on where they're taking their dogs.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You would think in a world and in a state where there's so many regulations for so many industries, that's the one that is sort of a blind spot.
Yeah, and it's something a lot of people don't think about. So be sure to ask for references, ask for pictures, ask if they went to school, ask if they specialize in certain breeds. The bottom line is communicate with your groomer, and if your dog is anxious or if it's never been to the groomer, don't just drop it off the first time. Set up a visit before. Of course, we have a lot more information right now on our website, turnto23.com.
That soundbite, don't be afraid to ask questions. They're not offended.
Lots of them. Yep.
All right. Well, let's switch gears.